Take one. So, Doctor Who's 13th series, simply titled Flux. It began yesterday. The first chapter is The Halloween Apocalypse. This is due to be a 6-part series, 6 episodes, all encompassing one story. Something they haven't really done since, well, they haven't done it for a while actually. I mean, there was The Key to Time in the late 70s, and during the 80s we had The Trial of a Time Lord. But those are the only two that really have really been done. I mean, we've had kind of ongoing storylines in the series before with Bad Wolf, Vote Saxon and the like, but this is the first time with New Who that they're focusing one thing completely throughout the whole series. But yeah, it's nice to see. So we start off once again with the 13th Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, and her companion Yasmin Khan, played by Amanda Gill, in trouble. They've seemingly been captured by a creature called Carvinista, who's kind of trapped them on an acid planet and is trying to do something. They ultimately manage to escape and track his ship and make their way back to Earth, specifically to Liverpool. Now, it's safe to say a lot happens in this storyline, and it's absolutely mad, but to be honest, I'm prepared to let it slide, because if this is going to be an ongoing storyline throughout the entire season, I think it's probably going to tie up all very nicely when we get to the end. But anyway, we start off with a look at Liverpool in 1810 with a guy named Joseph Williamson, played by Steve Oram, seemingly asking for a series of tunnels to be built, the Williamson tunnels, to which I was informed by a family member that the Williamson tunnels actually do exist, and nobody's quite sure why they were created in the first place, but presumably this is another one of history's mysteries that we're going to get this season. We then introduce the new companion, Daniel Lewis, played by John Bishop. Now, I'll admit, probably like a lot of other people, when Bradley and Tosin left Doctor Who in January of this year, I, like many other people, thought, well, okay, maybe this will give them a time to flesh out Yaz a bit more, give her a bit more time with the Doctor and rebuild it. And when it was announced that we're getting a new companion, I was like, do they really need one? I mean, we could have gone a bit more with Yaz, come on. But upon watching it through, I like Daniel Lewis as a character. I mean, I like John Bishop. I mean, both of them play it very well. John Bishop plays Dan Lewis very well, and Dan Lewis is a likeable character. I mean, we see him first off giving a tour of a museum in Liverpool, and yeah, he does it well. You think, wow, he's really into his job, and then it finds out, no, he's not. This isn't his job. He's not actually employed at this museum. He just likes making people happy. Although he is told by his friend Diane, played by Nadia Albina, that basically if he keeps doing this, they're going to have to kick him out. Although they arrange to have drinks later, which is kind of nice. And we see that Dan, he's a guy down on his luck, but he's seemingly trying to do nice things for other people. I mean, even if he hasn't always got enough in his fridge to feed himself, or in his cupboards, he still helps out at a food bank. He turns down an offer of soup from Nadia, from Diane, and he makes sure he's got enough sweets to hand out for the kids on Halloween, even if he has to shoo away a guy who's just clearly just trying to get food from him. But eventually Dan is captured by Carvinista, the creature that had captured the Doctor and Yaz at the beginning. It's played by Craig Ells, and I'll be honest, when we see it, it's a kind of dog-like creature, and when I saw it I was just like, oh, okay, Hackerty Dog really went downhill. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look at British children's TV in kind of the late 2000s or early 2010s. You'll understand what I mean by that. In fact, I think Hackerty Dog's still around today. But yeah, you got a dog-like alien called Carvinista, and he's kidnapped Dan. And eventually the Doctor and Yaz manage to track it down and rescue Dan, and have to deal with a whole load of stuff. I mean, as I said, a lot of stuff happens in this story. Not only have you got everything I just described with Dan and Carvinista, but we also see a creature escape from a prison, an outer space prison, and it's called the Swarm. It's played mainly by Sam Spruill, which it also ends up going to an Arctic research base, killing off a man that works there, and the woman turns out to be the Swarm's sister, which I think they're setting the Swarm up as kind of the big thing for this series, the big kind of villain. We also meet a man who is seemingly just observing the universe named Vinder, played by Jacob Anderson, who's kind of sitting in a box in space, kind of observing the universe, and then stuff starts happening and he has to bail. We also get our first look at the new redesigned Sontarans. We get a look at the Weeping Angels, who end up going after Diane, which, yeah, we knew they were coming back, and we get the Swarm, the Sontarans, the Weeping Angels, and we also get our look at the Flux of Doctor Who's Flux, which is seemingly this giant wave that's rippling through the universe, destroying everything. Destroying every planet, every star. It's kind of similar to Marvel's Galactus effect, when Galactus eats planets, or the antimatter wave that we saw in Crisis on Infinite Earths. I mean, this is just something rolling through the universe, destroying everything in its path. I mean, as I said, we got the Flux, we got the Swarm, we got the Weeping Angels, we got the Sontarans, Vinder, Carvinista, Daniel Lewis, everything. I mean, frankly, the only thing that was in the trailers that we didn't see in this episode was the Cybermen. I mean, there's a lot going on. So much so that a lot of it doesn't really appear to have answers. I mean, the Sontarans appear for a second and then suddenly they're gone. The Weeping Angels that we see chasing Diane, we see them chase her into a house and then suddenly they're gone. You get the Swarm and then they're not focused on very much. But I'm willing to let all of this slide. I mean, even the Williamson tunnels I'm willing to let slide, because it does feel like this is something that's going to get fleshed out over the entire series. I mean, that they throw a lot at you with this first episode, and honestly, it's a lot, but I do think they're going to build upon a lot more of it. So, with my overall thoughts on the first episode of Series 13, as I said, there's a lot being thrown at you. Not all of it hits a bullseye, but you know what? I'm prepared to let it slide because I know it's going to build up with time coming. I mean, we've seen everything coming. We've seen the Swarm, we've seen the Flux, we've seen the Sontarans, Weeping Angels. We know the Cybermen are coming. We've seen Carvinista, who's eventually revealed that Carvinista's people are kind of like a dog race of people, and there are 4 billion ships, all seemingly heading away from Earth, and it's explained that they're kind of like a partner race to the human race, and Dan was the equivalent of Carvinista, and he was trying to save Dan from the Flux, which I do like that. Okay, he's a character that seemed pretty villainous at the start, but then you do get he has a reason for what he's doing, and as I said, there's a whole lot being thrown at you, and we don't know which way is going to come up next, but I'm sure they're going to do something great. So, although it's a pretty basic summary of what I think we haven't seen the entire thing yet, so I'm willing to let it slide. I mean, the next episode is set to feature Sontarans and Mary Seacole, a lesser-known nurse from the Crimean War. So I can't wait to see how that turns out. But I will say the Halloween Apocalypse is fun, and it's a great way to get us stuff started with Jodie Whittaker's last series. I mean, we're getting a series with her and then 3 more specials after that. But it's her last year, and it's off to a cracking start. So there you go. There's my quick thoughts on the Halloween Apocalypse. Pretty good. A right mess. And I can't wait to see what happens. Anyway, until next week, see ya.